The idiots are back. We got Dom. We got Jam. How you doing, guys?
All right, you? How are we going?
All right.
Yeah, not bad. So it's been like, I don't know, a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks since we last spoke. So I've honestly, I've had my phone jammed up. My Facebook's gone mad. Everyone's saying, "Where are you? What's going on?" Well, they haven't really, but you know, I'm sure we've been missed a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Tears at bedtime. I'm sure all the time.
Yeah. So we do try and get together weekly, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. I've been a busy boy lately, turning 51. My first wedding anniversary. So, you know, I did say to her, I can't come to bed tonight. I've got 1997 all killer, no filler, but she wouldn't have none of that. So
she's probably pleased stay away from the bed.
Yeah, exactly. So we're up to 1997 all killer, no filler, total frustration. And just to explain to anyone, I know you guys probably think I sound boring, but the rules of all killer, no filler are Jam's rules. We do change them now and again just to suit us if it gets too awkward. But the basic rules are you can't choose two songs from one album. It has to be one song only from that year. And the other one is the track listing has to match the track listing of the original album. So we've got 11 tracks, and obviously they have to match the track listing of the original album. So it's difficult. It's a lot more difficult than you think, especially when you get to 1997. So, I mean, maybe not for you guys, but for me, and we've gone through this before, I lost my way a little bit, I suppose, in the 90s, and then probably picked up again in the 2000s at some point. I'll probably, when I start going for the 2000s, I'll realise when it really hit for me again. But it was a bit of a spate there. So there's some great music, by the way. It's not like it was a bad year. I've got some brilliant songs, but I had to do the most research I've ever done on a year. And I literally had to listen to about 9. I had to get about 9 tracks out of the 11. Like I haven't heard before. I only heard once and couldn't, you know, I've literally got a couple of tracks on here that I knew straight away.
Hey.
So it's been it hasn't been a week and a half to get back to, or 2 weeks to get back together because of that. It's just, I've had it done for a while. It's just, we couldn't get back together. So
sure. Yeah. Good excuse, clearly.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go back and listen to all this though, because there's just too much going on at the moment, let alone fucking 1997. So I'm not saying I'm going to go back and listen to all this, but what I found was really cool. So it just shows you what it was all about, and maybe hints of it all coming back. You know,
I can't wait for you to get to 98 and 99.
I haven't even looked yet. So I haven't even looked yet. So that might be in a month's time. I don't know. No, it won't be. But yeah. So 1997. That means Dom is starting because he's odd.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Track 1 then, man. What we got?
Okay, track 1. Well, I'll say about this list is that the difference is that there's not a whole lot of new bands. Say 10 years before this, you know, in 87 we had tons of new bands. The main difference is that there's not too many new bands. It's all our favorites. So number 1 is John Sykes. This is from his album 20th Century. He had 2 albums this year. One was this rocker one, which is his basic kind of thing. Then he also had Loveland, which was all ballads, which is good in itself as well. But I like when he...
Fuck me, 2 albums in 1 year. We get 1 song every 7 years now.
Yeah,
I know. Well, I think he was getting a bit of money from Japan and stuff. So, yeah. You know, there you go. But this song is Look in His Eyes, opening track. Just your basic kind of Sykes barnstormer. Could be a Blue Murders track. Really good. Same production you love from him, and he's soloing and sounds great. So it's kind of more of the same, but you know, at least he's not experimenting with down-tuned chords and shit like that. So it's the Sykesy that we like and love. So yeah, if you haven't heard 20th Century, go back and listen to it. Quite a good record.
I mean, the reasoning behind the lack of material now, so someone said the other day, it might be one of you guys, said he's a perfectionist. But is that true? I mean, do you do one song every fucking 7 years as a perfectionist, or is there a lot more going on than that?
I think that's just a excuse, some sort of bullshit. Because I mean, if you're going to do 2 albums in 1 year, you know, I mean, you can't be that much of a perfectionist.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
So
cool.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, this is what the show that we do is perfect for, us to go back and listen to these records that no one really knew much about. So if you like Blue Murder, if you like, you know, his work with Whitesnake, some of his other stuff you've heard, yeah, go back and check out some of these records. So yeah, 20th Century, great record. Look in His Eyes, the first track.
Cool, good one, mate. Some 80s going on there in 1997. There you go. Right, yeah. What you got then, Jack?
Right, I've got a few new bands on my list, but we're starting with a band on the second album, and once again, same as 1994, I'm opening with Machine Head, and it's from their album The More Things Change, and it's a song 10 Ton Hammer. This is the second album. It's first one was pretty much just a thrash album. This has got a bit more of a groove to it. It's still very heavy, but they didn't quite go nu metal. I think they went nu metal on the next one a little bit, which has got a bit of a slater. But this is still pretty heavy, pretty cool. And 10 Ton Hammer is one of the still live favourites they play when you see Machine Head. I mean, I really do like Machine Head. There's some great albums, especially later, Unto the Locust and The Blackening, things like that. But this is a great song, 10 Ton Hammer. Great opening track to their second album.
Great title of the track as well. I love that. I mean, you know, would you get what you expect? I take it, a 10 ton.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's not overly heavy though. It's not overly heavy. It's what you'd expect from Machine Head.
I do like it when a title of a song gives you what you expect. There was one the other day that I heard Manimal, a new band called Manimal. Well, it ain't a new band, and it Burn in Hell, and I thought, yeah. And it was literally, it was literally how it sounded. Brilliant. Okay.
And that's like a ballad, Burning Hell.
Yeah. And it goes the other way. Sometimes you hear a ballady title, you think, oh, this is going to be a ballad, and it ain't. It's just weird. It's just how it works out. But I think they do it on purpose sometimes. Anyway. Okay. Well, I'm going from one of my favourite 80s bands. They hit a little bit of that, I don't know, new metal type sound creeping in slightly. But I suppose they took a lot of stick back then for it, but it's not what you think. You know, when people just love the 80s sound. So when they do something a little bit different, they get stick for it. But this is actually a really good song. It's from TNT. So it's a song called Firefly, and it's the title track from the album. So it's the opening track, obviously it's track 1. It's obviously like Roarer. They were near the end of the late 80s. TNT got very polished, especially with the Intuition album. They were, you know, leaning on AOR, but still very cool band. But yeah, they got a bit rawer with that sort of, you know, grungy, even new metal type things creeping in, but only slightly, like I said. So Harnell's voice, he's not doing anything different. He's still got that amazing, you know, range that he's got. So he's singing the same. He's not all of a sudden growling or fucking saying fuck you, I won't do what you tell me or anything like that. He's just like he's still brilliant.
God, wouldn't that be hilarious?
I mean, it is influenced, like I said, by the 90s a little, but not enough to stray away. And I know that he's actually said that he's quite proud of the albums. I know artists do that, especially if fans say, you know, they're the poorest albums. Artists sort of seem to say, you know, well, we were going for this and we're proud of it. He has said that. Yeah. I mean, he seems like an honest guy. Hopefully he is. But it's sort of like, it's obviously not classic TNT, and they went back to that at a later stage, you know, back to the old sound more. But it's obviously the guitaring from Ronnie Letecro is still absolutely first class. The rhythm of the actual guitar, he's hitting that 90s feel, but the solo in is just definitely just exactly what you expect from him. Absolutely amazing, experimental, one of the best guitarists obviously in the world, you know, as far as I'm concerned, and inventive as well. You know, we talk about, don't we, guitarists that we love, and he's definitely up there with the best guitarists in the world, in my opinion. So some weird sounds come out of his guitar, you know, a bit like, not the same, but we spoke about Rage Against the Machine, didn't we? And the Tom Morello stuff he does. Ronnie Letecro in the 80s was doing some weird stuff on the guitar that sounded absolutely amazing. So a brilliant song, actually, but influenced a little bit by those 90s periods, but one of the best songs on the album. But TNT, Firefly, opening up for me. All right, guys.
Cool. All right. So my next one is kind of the epitome of when you speak of a band that was huge in the 80s, struggling to find their way and trying a bit something different. And the fans were just like, what the fuck? This is Motley Crue with Generation Swine. As a whole, the album is not great. I'll definitely say that. But beauty of the show is that you get to pick tracks that you like. This is a single called Afraid, which I thought was very strong. Great chorus. You know, it does have a bit of kind of samples in there and stuff, you know, but, you know, I think it's a great song. Apparently a lot of this record was written with Karabi in mind. So I've always thought, what would this sound like with Karabi singing it instead of Vince? But I guess that's neither here nor there. But Afraid, it was the first single. And I've always liked it. Unfortunately, the album was a bit unfocused, I think would be the polite way to say. But you know, they were trying their bets just like everyone else. And so there you go. Generation Swine, Motley Crue, Afraid. I think a lot of people probably know this tune, but I think it's a good one.
I've never actually listened to the album because I think I don't know, I must have got to Dr. Feelgood and then maybe heard something. I can't remember if I heard anything after that, but I definitely didn't hear the Motley Crue album either, you know, the self-titled album until recent. So, and this one, I've heard so much stuff about it. I probably thought, you know, I've got more to worry about music-wise. Generation Swine. That's probably what I was thinking. So, yeah,
it's kind of the as I said, it's kind of the poster boy for an 80s band trying to be a 90s band and failing.
Oh dear. Right, what you got then, Jack?
Okay, right, I'm sticking with my thrash theme and probably be the one and only mention of this band, and that is Creator, the German thrash metal band, and the song Phobia from the album Outcast. Now, I've had nothing against Creator. I just never listened to them particularly, but they were playing. They were on download a few years ago, and when the time slots come out, I saw I would have space to watch them. So I thought, well, I'll check them out. So I made myself like a best of playlist type thing, stuff they play live, and this is the song that stuck with me when I was listening to it. It's absolutely brilliant. This song, it's got a great groove to it. Yeah, I know you like a bit of Flotsam and Jetsam, Lee. You probably like this. It's very melodic, and it's just a brilliant song. I didn't obviously know particularly when this song came out. I just wrote it down. I made a list of all the songs I wanted to get on my All Killer list, and this happened to be in 1997. And so I thought, I've got a great opportunity to stick it in. So that's it. It's a really catchy song, still heavy. Creator, Phobia. Check it out if you've not heard it.
Cool. I mean, my neighbours who are metal fans, a bit more extreme metal, by the way, most of it. They recently went to the Bloodstock Festival and they were there. I think they headlined one of the stages, or might have been the main stage on another night. I said, I'm a bit surprised Creator headline. So I don't know.
Well, they did because Merciful Fate dropped out. They were supposed to headline.
Right. But
so Creator stepped in. But
yeah, they said they were fucking brilliant. But,
yeah,
I think they're Creator fans as well, obviously. But I think they're just on the. So what I've heard, little tinges of them. The vocals are a little bit more. They don't quite get me. I mean, I'm probably Testament level as far as I go, you know, on that level of just about, and they're a little bit more than that. They're a little bit more than that, but musically, though, what I've heard is fantastic. And that sort of band, I'd love to see at a festival, actually. I wouldn't hide from seeing a thrash band at a festival, no matter what the vocals are like, because it's exciting to watch them anyway, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I saw these. I saw Exodus as well. It's another band I was not particularly into, but when I knew they were playing it down there, I went to see them and got some of their stuff. They were good as well.
It's always fun to see the crowd going fucking apeshit as well, isn't it? So there you go. Good one, mate. Cool. Excellent. Okay, well, my sort of looking into bands that I haven't heard of before for the second one, and most of my list. So This one, I heard a little bit of music from them years and years ago, and I quite liked it. I have one album, and I can't even remember the name of it. So I saw this crop up when I was looking at the albums of '97, and it's a band called Balance of Power. Don't know if you guys have ever heard of them.
No. Heard the name, but I don't think I own anything, no.
So I was quite surprised when I started like getting this list together to find out they're actually British. So they're British and Christian, which I didn't know when I heard the album back then. I don't know
sign you up, man.
I know. So I don't know if they were Christian all the way through their career. You know, sometimes they are Christian bands, aren't they? Then they either go one way or the other. They start off, but this is the debut album. And I remember hearing an album, which must have been a later one. They became quite progressive, but always good to listen to, quite melodic as well, because you probably know me, guys. I like progressive music a little bit, but you know, we're not talking really like. Yeah, I'm a bit like where I am with thrash. I can go to a certain stage. I'm like that with progressive music. If it gets too hard to listen to, I'm like, you know, I mean, just lose interest. But at this stage, I don't know if the whole album was like it, but this is like near enough an AOR melodic hard rock song. So it was a single. So whether it was just like that on this song. But it's very, very catchy. It's called the album's called When the World Falls Down. It's called Against the Odds is the song. So really catchy stuff. You wouldn't think they was British, to tell you the truth, but it just doesn't sound British at all. I don't know, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Like British people can't be melodic, but they definitely can. But you know, you know when you hear certain music, and even if it is melodic music, you think, oh, it does sound British. These guys didn't. But this is a great song. Really catchy. It's got a video as well, if anyone wants to catch it out on YouTube. I know. It's called Against the Odds. Great song. So that's my track 2.
It's not a Phil Collins cover version, is it?
No. No, definitely not. We're not on the cover show, are we? Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
Oh, fuck, we are. No. No, it's not a cover, no.
Wow, that's pretty impressive for a new British Christian melodic band to have a video. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's only of them.
They must have put all their life savings into anything.
I mean, to tell you the truth, you see it a lot now. A lot of new bands now, they have videos, but obviously, you know, they don't go out and about much. You know, they're very sort of like in a little room. Yeah. But there was one the other day that I ripped the piss out of. The guy, each band was separate, obviously because of COVID, maybe. It was a few months ago. So one was like in the studio, which was quite cool. The fucking bass player, I had to go at him because he was in his kitchen. Right? So it's
like one of our shows.
So he's got his fucking washing up and he's got his fucking bass guitar. It was a great song. And I said, I said in the video, I said, the fucking bass guitar, next time, just tell him not to go in his kitchen. And they actually replied back, the band, they saw it. And said, we'll let him know, like laughing. The fucking kitchen of all places. The bedroom, you can get away with. You get away with the bedroom, right? Yeah, and the front room, maybe. But the kitchen is a no-no, isn't it? I mean, my kitchen's there. I'm right there next to it, but I wouldn't let you see it all. You know, the kettle on that. Anyway, track 3, guys. What we got?
They gave it a try. Track 3 for me is the return of UDO. There was an Accept reunion for a lot of the 90s. They made 3 more records with Udo. Yeah. But they've now broken up once again. The same problems cropped up, of course. But yeah, so Udo is back with album's called Solid. And it is pretty solid. I'm happy to see him back in his own band. The name of the track is Desperate Balls, which, you know, we've all been there, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Udo's just relating to his fan base. A real kind of great chuggy mid tempo, but very heavy, kind of chunky riff. Just Udo back doing his best, and we'll definitely be checking in with Udo more. So UDO, the band, back after a brief Accept reunion.
Excellent, mate.
Number 3.
Good one. Okay, what you got, Jan?
Okay, going back to one of my favourite bands, and their last album before they sort of split up, and they have done it. They've come back together and they're playing now, and they did an album. I say new album. It's probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, but it's Faith No More from their album of the year, and the song is Last Cup of Sorrow. This album was a strange one because I didn't realise they'd actually released it. It was in that period of time. I thought their last album was King for a Day. I didn't even discover this album until recently. I mean, probably the last 10 years or so. And then I've sort of, they did another album after that. I didn't even realise.
Wow.
And it's really good. I don't think it gets a lot of love, but it's got some cracking songs on it. I mean, I would like to put Collision or Strip Search, which is the first 2 tracks, so I can talk about them. They're great tracks. And this is a good track as well. And there's some other ones later on. But I think it stands up one of their best albums, actually. And this song is more of a slower song. I forgot what's the singer's name. Mike Patton's got sort of a bit of a vocal effect on this song, but he sings it really, really well. Sings the chorus sort of cleanly, but it's got sort of like a megaphone type effect on it on the verses and stuff like that. But yes, it's a great song and a great album. If you haven't heard, if you think the last good album was King for a Day, then check out Album of the Year. Very good.
Cool. Your post has just been delivered, by the way. Just saw the postman.
On Sunday, it's unusual.
On a Sunday?
Yeah, you must have an Amazon delivery or something weird like that. Anyway, sorry about that. I just saw him walk past with his bag.
That's right. I did hear something.
Anyway, okay, good one, mate.
Yeah.
I haven't actually heard. I've heard bits of the Faith No More stuff. The later stuff. I don't know. Perhaps I should go back and definitely go back to some of that because
check out Strip Search and Collision. First 2 tracks, brilliant.
I find them I always found them, apart from the real thing, I found them quite spotty, as in I liked a lot of tracks and didn't like a lot of others. I think, it's half and half with me, especially the ones where he's going a bit fucking mental on, I can give or take on them. Anyway, right, okay.
He doesn't have time for all that goofy shit.
I haven't got time. It's upsetting me, the amount of time I've got. I know I'm not that old, but I am getting older. So anyway, next one, I'm going to go to a power metal band, probably the most truest sort of power metal band, who were releasing a lot of stuff around this time. Hammerfall. Now, I'm not a huge Hammerfall fan. I do like some of it. One of the subscribers is requesting a Hammerfall all the time. He's the biggest Hammerfall fan that I know of, obviously, but Metal Crusader 666. So in case he's listening to this, shout out to him. But he's from the beginning of me starting the channel, he fucking Hammerfall. He's a fucking fanatic, so which is really cool to be a fanatic of a band. And I've done a few reactions, and I'm always honest, and some of them I didn't like, some of them I have. So they sometimes go a bit more metal, and they sometimes get a little bit too cheesy for me, I suppose you could say. And power metal has that problem, doesn't it? Where a lot of it's cheesy. You could say this is a little bit cheesy, but I actually like the song. It's a slower song, so it's called "Glory to the Brave." It's the actual title track of the album, and it's an epic metal ballad, I suppose. Piano starting. It seems like when I was looking through this album on YouTube, it's a real favourite of the fans, and it seems to be, if you're a Hammerfall fanatic like Metal Crusader 666 is, he might choose this as a funeral song because it seems like a lot of the guys like this is going to be played at my funeral. It's like one of them. It's epic. And if you're a power metal fan and all your mates turn up in their Viking gear or whatever to your funeral, you can play Glory to the Brave. But no,
hell.
At this stage, I think they started down tuning their guitars a bit as well. They went a bit more metal, and it sort of cuts through a little bit more. I think it sometimes helps with power metal because it takes the cheesiness away a little bit when they down tune a little bit more.
You're going to stop using that word, man.
What, power metal or
cheesy? Yeah. You're going to have to find something else. So that's just offensive. That's offensive.
It might be, but Metal Crusader.
Especially when you're talking about metal, man, and think of the people watching your thing. Oh yeah, it's just cheesy.
A little bit. It is a little bit, and I've always said that with all metal, when I hear that sort of, I don't know what to call it now because you told me to stop saying it, but it does just put me off. It sounds too happy and too like jolly. You know, I want it a bit darker when I listen to my power metal.
Okay, all right, that's better.
Yeah. I'm not going to say cheesy anymore. Apart from that.
But I'm going to see.
Go on.
So I was going to say I'm going to see Halloween. You know, for the obviously reunion thing next year, and Hammerfall are supporting them actually. So
wow, that's a good bill.
So yeah, be interested to see them.
They're very for me. They do some brilliant songs, but other songs I can leave them because of that lighter side and happier side. Is that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, track 4, guys. What we got?
Track 4 for me is 10 is back on my list, as I said they would be. They released quite a few albums in succession, so this is their 3rd album called The Robe. The song is called Virtual Reality. I really love this band. As I said before, they do have some of their chord choices and things are kind of melodic, progressive. They don't whittle a lot, but they just have a different feel to other melodic rock bands. And I mentioned before that his voice isn't your kind of like powerful survivory kind of voice. It's more lower register, so it gives everything a different feel. But I just love him. I think I said on the last show, it's a band that I didn't know about back then. Somebody I've discovered the last 5 years or so, but I've gotten their entire catalog and everything is very strong. Virtual Reality is another just terrific melodic song, but with a bit of a difference. But I can't recommend 10 enough. So absolutely cool.
I think didn't the singer or someone had a solo album out as well? Was that any good? Was it last year or this year?
I don't have it. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I think one of them. It might have been the singer. I think it was.
I think he's had solo records kind of throughout their career.
Yeah.
I only have the 10 discography. I haven't gone far enough to investigate the solo records either. But
too much music, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think 10 have like 15 albums in them.
Yeah. Okay, cool, mate. Jan, what you got, mate?
Okay, got 3rd of 4 thrash bands on my list, although not at this point because it's Metallica and it's from Reload. And it's Unforgiven 2. As I said, I think on the last video, I think Load came out in 96, didn't it? I prefer Reload, I think. Better songs on it for me. But as I've mentioned many times, put the 2 albums together, the best songs off both. You've probably got one very good album. Another album that's a bit too long. But Unforgiven 2 I like all the Unforgiven songs. Unforgiven 3 is actually probably my favourite one, of which doesn't actually sound... Which actually doesn't
even realize there was a 3.
1 or 2. Sorry?
I didn't even realize there was a 3.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, Unforgiven 3 is on Death Magnetic. But it's weird because it doesn't sound anything like Unforgiven, whereas Unforgiven 2 does. So it's a bit strange.
It's a bit like Iced Earth. I mean, I don't know if you guys really know Iced Earth, but they've got a Something Wicked, like This Way It Comes, like, and that's gone on for years. Since he's obsessed. Well, John Schaefer was obsessed. He's probably like worried about more things now, but he was obsessed with Something Wicked, This Way Comes, and he even like an album 3 albums ago, he did the whole side was about that. He did an album about it. He does the odd songs about it, and he just keeps revisiting this concept that he's obsessed with. It's better than talking about other political stuff, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah.
Well, he probably does take the story and relay it to like current things going on or something, I'm sure.
Yeah, like the devil taking over the world and it's actually real. Like
something like that, yeah.
Probably. There you go. Yeah, we got one of my favourite bands now. That's bad. Anyway. Great song, mate. I actually like that one as well. I didn't like a lot of them 2 albums. I loved at the time, I think I've said before. Yeah. I don't know, over time, I can listen to Master of Puppets non-stop now. It's just changed, didn't it? It just changed. And even at the time, it was something sort of fresh and exciting, but then it just shows you, then what stage of you is to class, isn't it? So,
for a novice, can you explain the difference between Unforgiven 1, 2, and 3? Is it the same song?
No, you must know Unforgiven from the Black Album. That's
yes.
obviously one of their biggest songs. This one is a similar sort of slow song, and it's got hints of Unforgiven. It's sort of got some of the same sort of, not the verses. It's a completely different song, but it's got
the guitar melodies sometimes.
Yeah, it's got hints of it. Some of the lyrics
taking sort of bits of it. All right.
Yeah, but it's a different song in itself. But let's say Unforgiven 3 isn't a sort of another slower song, but it doesn't sound anything like Unforgiven 1 or 2. I don't know why they called it that, because for me, I love the song. I think it's the best one of the three, but it's nothing like Unforgiven 1 or 2. But that's just what it's called. So there you go.
Okay.
And that's on Death Magnetic, as I said. That's a bit later they did that one.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to one of the only songs that I knew completely while I'm doing this list. So I knew I'd get one of theirs in. There is some others I would rather have had in, but trying to sort of juggle the best of what I didn't know sort of made it a bit awkward for me. But I still love this song. It's Deftones, Dominic's favourite band.
Listen, out of some of those bands you like, they're the least offensive. So
yeah, I agree, and that's probably, like I said before, why they've stuck with me. One of the few bands that have stuck with me from the new metal period, if you want to call them that, to now. There's not many, and they're at download next year as well. So there you go. Anyway, Around the Fur is the title track. That's the one I've chosen. It's fucking heavy. There is some screaming in this as well, but I don't know why. I sound like a proper hypocrite, don't I? Because sometimes it depends. It really depends if it's, but he does a bit of screaming. It's not all the way through. It's sort of like occasionally, but I don't know when they do songs where fucking Chino Marina just screams all the way through, and I can't handle them songs. But sometimes he does it now and again in songs, and I'm okay with that. So really heavy riffs, like chugging through the verses. And like I said, I just think they're this is probably my favorite album as well, Around the Fur. It's before they started getting a little bit more experimental, I suppose. They were still like a metal band here, and then they started to introduce a bit of and all that bollocks a bit later on. So I didn't like all that scratching, and I'm not into it. But I mean, they again later on they sort of lost some of that, and they went back to how they sounded. So they go through stages of, then they do really mellow albums that are just so fucking mellow. It's too mellow. They do change a lot. There's one thing you can say about Deftones: they don't give you the same. They're not AC/DC. You don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't really fucking know. But there you go. Deftones, Around the Fur. Great track. Okay.
Cool. All right. Okay. So back to one of my favorites. This is Kip Winger's first solo album. Album is called This Conversation Feels Like a Dream. This song is called Steam. The album itself is not as hard rock. It is rock, but I'd say it's acoustic based. But there are some power chords in the choruses and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's not a snooze fest. Some Asian influences coming in, a bit of sitar in the background, that kind of thing. Songwriting is just fucking fantastic though, and he still sounds great, obviously. But it's definitely more of a, it's not 17 or whatever, but it's great rock album. And Steam is a terrific track as well. It's not fast, it's not slow, it's kind of a mid-tempo. But as I said, really, really great melodic songwriting. He's still got it. So yeah, Kip Winger.
I love it how Winger and Kip Winger get a bit of love on here, because it doesn't happen often in rock and metal.
No, I guess not, but yeah. Talk about cheesy, let me tell you, that's that's people's favorite word when it comes to Winger. So,
And definitely not. Definitely. I mean, when I say cheese, I would never say Winger were like that, especially like later on in their career. They're so intelligent songwriters, so brilliant. Okay.
So there you go. If you haven't heard, if you enjoy some Winger, definitely check out this first solo record. This Conversation Feels Like a Dream. It's a really terrific album.
Good one, mate. Excellent. Okay, Jan, what you got, mate?
Cool. I'm going in a slightly different direction. I'm going with Ramstein. and from
Slide just a bit.
Just a little bit more industrial. I think it's their second album. I'll try and pronounce it. Is it Sensucht?
It sounds like Sensucht, doesn't it? But when I see it, I say Sensucht. But whether it is,
I think it means desire apparently. But I'll probably get called out for picking the big song, but it's Du Hast and absolute classic. I can take or leave Ramstein. I've got nothing against them. Industrial music for me is a bit dull. It's much better live. I've seen Ramstein live, and everybody says it. They are absolutely brilliant live. One of the best gigs I've seen. I think the Headland Download a couple of years ago. Might have seen them twice actually. Absolutely well worth it. I'd like to. I were playing Milton Keynes before all COVID kicked off, and I was going to see them in. Or I was at Coventry, somewhere like that. They were going to play. I would have gone alone just to see that because they are so good live. But this is obviously one of the big songs everybody knows, Du Hast. But it fell nicely at number 5, so I thought I'd chuck it in.
I saw them live. I went to a gig on their, is it their Rise album, whatever you call it? It's called Rise, I take it, but German it's Rice. I don't know. Yeah. It's not rice as in like cooking rice. It's not spelled like that. Anyway, I went to see him, and I actually had to take him to court because they burnt. I had full head of hair back then, and it never grew back. So that was only a few years ago, and they literally, he had flames shooting out of his arms. He had these fucking flamethrower arms, and he was going like that and fucking pointing them just above our heads. And fucking hell, the heat was unbelievable. I mean, if you don't like a bit of heat, and you know, some people pass out if they feel a bit hot, don't they? Fucking hell, there was not just flames on the stage. He was firing them out of his arms, probably out of his cock. I don't fucking know, but there was fucking flames everywhere. It was great though.
They're firing from like the middle tower, don't they, to the stage and all that. Brilliant.
Yeah,
really
it is. I mean, that was in. I think that was like somewhere like you know, they weren't like massive stadiums then, so that was like literally might have been even somewhere like Brixton Academy or something like that.
Bloody hell, right?
Fucking firing these flames about, fucking ridiculous, but brilliant at the same time.
How were the tunes?
Yeah. I mean, I loved Ramstein back then. Or is it Ramstein, whatever you want to say. I loved them more then. And it's another band that, I don't know. I think they sound a bit too much. Every song I hear now, even the new ones, I'm like, that sounds the same as everything they've done, because it's the vocals in it as well. I mean, the deep vocals, and then it just sounds the same, doesn't it? Whatever you hear from Ramstein. I mean, I like their Mutter album. I think that was their one for me. I thought that was a great album, but they all sound very similar. I don't know. Give or take. I'm a bit like you, mate. Give or take. You know, but if I got a chance to see them live, I wouldn't pay now to go and see them live on their own. But if I was at a festival and I knew they were playing, I would make the.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Just to see the spectacle, if you like. Yeah. Anyway, do you like them, Tom?
I don't know. I just. They're all right.
Yeah, we're all sort of like.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when people all they talk about is a live show, I just think, well, the music's just background for like Cirque du Soleil or something. It's like, are they really a rock band? Could they cut it without all the? But that's what people said about Kiss for years as well. So what do I know?
Yeah, well, I think we all sort of seem a bit similar with that, but I like some of their stuff. But to listen to it for fucking whole album, I don't know. It's like either comes on now and again. It's all right. It doesn't sound very good anyway. Okay, so Lynyrd Skynyrd is at my number 5. Obviously the old Lynyrd Skynyrd. We all know what happened there in the late 70s. And this is I think there might have been one person who was in the original band. There still is, I think, but that's about it. I think
you're right, one, yeah.
But back then, this was called 20, and this was, I think, the 20th year that Skynyrd had obviously, from the beginning, they've been together. So obviously it's not the original band, but 20 years. Mind you, 77.
Yeah.
It was earlier than that, wasn't it?
20 years since the crash.
Yeah, it was probably the plane crash, actually, thinking about it, because I'm thinking 73, I think, was the pronounced album. a lot earlier than 76. So it must be the plane crash thinking about it. So yeah, so the album's called 20. This song's called Traveling Man. Obviously the title, and Lynyrd Skynyrd, is a proper Southern, you know, what you are as a Southern man, you know, wanting it the old ways, keeping your doors unlocked, and the world's changed. Yeah. The world has changed, and they're probably fucking right. It has changed a lot, you know, since, you know, over the years. But it's a typical, and I love this song for one reason only, because I get to say it's a boogie song. There's a real bit of boogie in this. I mean, I actually really like the last couple of Skynyrd albums. These ones I had to go and investigate this, by the way, like a lot of my tracks. So the last two, God and Guns and Last of a Dying Breed.
God and Guns.
Mate, honestly, I'm surprised they actually could release that song.
I mean, yeah,
because it's very obviously you only have to hear the title. The song is great. It might even appear in my fucking list later on. But the lyrics, like God and Guns,
does crack me up though.
Oh yeah, God and Guns make us strong. You know what I mean? Just don't take them away, or we're gonna. Yeah, it's basically a real political song. And
I bet John Schaefer likes that one.
Probably. I mean, they took down their Confederate flags a long time ago, Skynyrd. I mean, if you actually watch their old gigs, always a massive Confederate flag at the back. Wow. But they've had to be taken away over the years, and they're one of the bands that sort of were the only bands that had them up, but not anymore. They had to get rid of that sort of side of it. But yeah, Traveling Man's a great song. It's fun, just deep South song, really. I do like Skynyrd though. I fucking love them. They're brilliant. So
now, has Ricky Medlock from Blackfoot kind of taken hold by this stage, or did that come later?
I think it's later. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he came in a lot later.
Because he's pretty much taken over that band now.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right.
Volume 2, really.
Yeah, I mean, they fill the fucking stage. I don't know how many musicians there are now. There's 7 or 8 of them. I think there's like 3 guitarists and, you know, piano, obviously. And by that time, quite a big band.
Background singers.
Yeah, background singers as well. Yeah, definitely. But I like that. I think that's pretty cool. And, you know, seeing a big old band on stage with all them instruments. Mm-hmm. I'm not really into the 3 guitar thing, but I think it works in Southern rock a bit more than most. There you go. Okay, Lynyrd Skynyrd, number 5. Cool. Right, number 6, guys. What do you got?
What do I have? Oh, back to one of our favorites, Saxon. Saxon are back. We got an album, Unleash the Beast, which is their 13th album. Track I picked is called Ministry of Fools. I love this song. Great chorus on this. Obviously, Ministry of Fools talking about politics and the government, and we won't listen to the Ministry of Fools. But really good song. Just your basic, fantastic mid-tempo Saxon with a real catchy chorus. Biff still sounding great. I know a lot of people aren't really familiar with these mid-period albums, but they definitely are still making good work. So nothing to complain about here. Saxon, number 6.
Number 6. I know there was a period when they were in Saxon's discography, they hit a stage later on that people really started not taking notice. It was Lionheart, was it, or one before that? When they really amped up. I think they changed a little bit as well, didn't they?
They got a bit faster and heavier on some stuff. Got a bit more metal. Yeah. Trying to compete with, like, you know, Priest and Painkiller and all that kind of stuff. But I appreciate them just doing, you know, what metal. They do.
Not metal, but more metal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool. All right, excellent, mate. Always good to get Saxon in. What you got then, Jam?
Once again, couldn't be more opposite. I'm going for full new metal, and I'm going Coal Chamber.
Oh, fucking hell. I think I remember these,
Yeah, from the album, the debut album, self-titled album, and the song is Sway. You probably know it's the one that goes, the roof is on fire, that one. They do that quite a lot.
Are they the ones with the Merciful Fate type makeup and shit? They got like black and white makeup on their faces.
Yeah, I think they might have done. I didn't actually see them when they reformed. Because I think the singer's one from Devil Driver, isn't he? His band's Devil Driver now. Can't remember his name, but I think they might have
Cadenza or something.
Something. Yeah. I think they did make up. Or we getting confused with Mudvayne.
I might be, but I don't know. Maybe it's the name. Cole, I'm thinking they got their face got all black out with coal.
They just walked out of a coal mine.
Yeah. That's a strange name, isn't it? But no, this song's really good anyway. It's probably their biggest song if you hear it. You might have heard it and say that they're going about the roof being on fire and swaying a bit, but it's a good song. It's a good song. They're very much of a time. They're very much 1997. You know, it's not something that would come out now. Let's put it that way.
It's like someone said. I'm sure one of you guys said it the other day, but who knows? Like at that time, you thought that was going to be the music. You didn't know what was going to happen again, and it comes all around again, and then now it's like back to. Well, there's a lot of different stuff now, but the melodic rock's really back in it more than ever, I suppose, and true metal. As you go. Okay, cool. Good one, mate. Someone let us know in the comments below if they wear Merciful Fate type black and white makeup.
I don't think they do, but I could be.
I'm probably getting confused. There was some weird shit going on with bands then, wasn't there? Like the stuff they fucking, I don't fucking know. Okay, I'm going to a classic 80s band that I've mentioned a lot on here. I didn't actually hear this album at all until I was trying to pick a song, because they did go for a period that I wasn't so keen. But then you find gems, don't you, that you think, oh, fucking hell, what did I miss out on? I should have just carried on listening to them. But it's Y&T, or they used to be called Yesterday and Today, didn't they, way back when? The album's Endangered Species, and the song's called Sail On By. It is known as probably one of their weakest albums, and it ain't, it's not one that I would choose to put on for sure listening to it. But this song's great, because when Y&T do a ballad, which this is.
Oh, it melts Lee's heart.
Oh, it does. And Dave Meniketti, he's like one of the best at sort of pouring his heart out on the guitar.
Plugging at your heartstrings there.
Oh, yeah, definitely, mate. Guitar and vocals, he's like, it reminds me, he's not the same sort of player, but you know how you used to hear Gary Moore do a ballad? And the solo in, and that's how Meniketti sounds to me. He pours everything into it. It's very sort of, like you said, putting at the heartstrings a little bit. This almost has a bit of a southern feel to it as well. So that's probably why it appealed to me. I like a bit of southern music, as you know. So Y&T, Sail On By, one that I didn't know about, I've discovered. So there you go. Check that one out. All right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Even Y&T didn't hold your even the mighty Y&T, you weren't keeping up with them.
They didn't, mate. I'll tell you what I'm most gutted about Y&T. Every fucking time they have an album out on their live streams, no one fucking chooses them. No one's got any taste anymore, I tell you. I think, please, someone, let me talk about Y&T. It's too late. It's too late, I think, now. We have got a couple of years to go. You never know.
Oh, yeah. You still have what? 83, 82?
Yeah, we're
83, I think.
We're 83, but I don't want any sympathy fucking votes just to let me talk about it either. I don't want none of that, because I know that happens. So I don't want none of that. I just want to.
Does that really happen?
Oh yeah. I won't say how, but it does. So I don't want I don't want none of them. I just want someone to actually like it. I don't mind if you go and listen to it now and like it and then vote for it, but don't fucking vote just because then I'll ask you to talk about it in full, every track.
It's like if you wear a t-shirt of a band, you better fucking know their music.
Yeah, at least one song. At least one song. This is Halloween, by the way. All right, I do like Halloween, but this is the film. Just to let anyone want to point that out. It is not a band T-shirt. All right. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have the obviously the remake T-shirt.
I'm not taking your bait, buddy. I'm not taking your bait.
But this is the original. There you go. Right.
The original recipe.
Right.
Yeah. My favorite horror movie of all time. No question.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Number one. Okay. So number 7 is my turn with the fantastic Hammerfall. This is their first album. So this is the only band on here that is debuting. But yeah, I heard them first album And I was like, wow, this is great. This is actually the first time I ever really heard the term power metal. Before I heard it, and I was like, what is power metal really? But to me, it just sounded like old school metal. Power metal to me is like, oh God, what's that? Like Blind Guardian, or like
fast, symphonic, a little bit symphonic.
Everything is double bass, you know, where it could just be a normal tempo. Everything is.
You know. I know what you mean.
Hammerfall to me, they sound very classic metal to me. I don't know, being from old school Priest and stuff. They sounded great. Seen them a few times, always good. One time supporting Dio, that was a good bill. So yeah, here we go. This is Stone Cold, one of the classics. I think they still do this quite a bit on their subsequent set lists. One of their classics. So Hammerfall, you'll be hearing a lot more of them on my list as well.
I didn't know that was a debut album. For some reason,
I
thought it was the third album. I don't know why I thought that. But
Glory to the Brave.
Obviously, I'm not an expert on Hammerfall, but I thought it was a later album. But I agree with you, this power metal thing, because when I've did reactions lately as well, a lot of bands themselves have put in that it's power metal, and I don't agree. Some of it just sounds like melodic hard rock to me. It just doesn't. But
yeah.
Anyway,
I think it's almost a way to say that they're more contemporary. If they call themselves power metal, they don't get kind of tagged with, you know, dinosaur rock or whatever. If they call themselves power metal, then, you know, then there's something new and different. You should hear it.
Maybe, mate. Even though it's been going since 1990, fucking something. Yeah, I agree.
You know
I agree. Yeah,
it's a new genre, you know.
There's definitely the lighter side and the darker side as well of this power metal, whatever it is. But yeah, for sure. Cool. Good one, mate. That's Hammerfall twice. That's good. What you got in, Jen?
Okay, I'm going for the Misfits, but this is the new Misfits because this is not Glenn
Michael
Danzig.
Graves.
Michael Graves, Jerry Only fronted Misfits. I'm not a big fan of this period. They're sort of like a family-friendly Misfits now. I don't know if they found religion or something, but
oh man, I love
it. There's no last caress on there. Put it this way: there's no swearing. I don't know if they got told to clear up their act. But this is it's not the same Misfits. It's obviously much better produced. I've done about 3 or 4 albums. Some of it's okay. I'm a big fan. I prefer classic Danzig, but this song "Dig Up Her Bones" from American Psycho is known as a classic Misfits song from the new period, if you like. Obviously, they have done shows recently with Glenn, which I'd love to see, but bastard won't come over here and play. But yeah, this is a good song on American Psycho, which is okay. I think that some Misfits fans who like both do like this album. I think they did a 1950s themed album after this, of cover versions, Custom Crypt or something, I think it was called. Might be getting confused, but now this is like a proper album of new songs. But yes, family-friendly Misfits, not the classic punky one of the early 80s.
Family-friendly. Cool. Excellent, mate. Right, my track 7 from the Savatage band. So they're quite a bit into their career now. They've got their new singer, which is, oh my God, Zach Stevens.
That's his name? Oh, I thought, oh my God, was his name?
Yeah, Zach Stevens was fronting the band at this point. But the cool thing is, obviously get along well with the past musicians because they invited John Oliver to do a song on this album. So the album's called Wake of Magdalene. I think that's how it's said. It's like, and the song called Paragons of Innocence. It's a very epic sounding song. The Savatage are quite epic, aren't they?
Yes, you do, yeah.
Yeah, it has a load of twists and turns in the song, but the chorus is very, very catchy on this. So, I mean, I love his voice. I love John Oliver's voice. He has got a certain, I don't know, evilness about his voice. He's very menacing and he sounds like he means every word. So, I mean, I do prefer him singing, although I think Zach Stevens is pretty good as well. Is it Zach Stevens? I think it is. Someone's going to correct me. But yeah, it's. I mean, this album as such, I do prefer the '80s, late '80s stuff. You know, those two, they seem to fit together, don't they? That all of the Mountain King and the Gutter Ballet albums are just excellent metal albums. But there's some really good like stages, like parts of like songs and that on the later albums. They're very theatrical as well. There's a lot of piano and it sounds almost musical, you know, at times. But this one's very good, real metal song. But like I said, loads of twists and turns. Very sort of, I don't know if you call it progressive or not. They are a metal band, but they've got progressive elements, I suppose.
Yeah,
for sure.
So John is singing on this one you picked.
Yes, John is actually singing. John Oliver's singing on this one. It's probably, I mean, I did have, when I started to get into Sabotage not so long ago, again, although I knew the two albums, of course, I left them behind, like everyone else in the 90s. So about a year ago, I got hold of all the Sabotage albums again and was like listening to them in the car, you know, and on a mix sort of thing. And then this was one of the songs that always stood out when it came around to it. So cool. Great song. Yeah, it's good.
Is he still doing this thing?
Oh yeah, he's still doing that at times, cool. But it's just he's a one of them singers, isn't it? That you sometimes it's a bit weird, you know. I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me here, if you know him that well, but he sounds a bit like Alice Cooper sometimes in that when he goes to the. If you ever listen
to kind of darker, yeah. But obviously he has more of a range.
Well, yeah, Alice Cooper hasn't got that.
We love Alice, but yeah, he's not known for being technically fantastic singer.
But when he does his deep little eerie thing, he sounds a bit like Alice Cooper does. So it's quite cool.
Right. Cool.
Okay, track 8 then, guys. What we got?
Track 8. Okay, I'm going with the band that Lee has mentioned the past couple of years, but I'm getting to him now. Kingdom Come. This is from the album called Master 7, so you can imagine that it's probably the 7th album, but no, it's their 6th album. So I don't know why. I don't know why he's done that.
Maybe he lost count. Maybe he just got confused and thought he was.
Or maybe there's a compilation I'm missing somewhere that he counts as an album. I don't know. Yeah. But this 6th studio album of all new original material. This song's called Gonna Try. The verses are very ballady. But, you know, in that kind of, you know, Lenny Wolf, fantastic ballady. But then when it gets to the chorus, man, it's fucking super heavy. It's all da, 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 da. But, you know, he does his gonna try, you know, his little like kind of thing. And it's great. Yeah. You know, these albums that you've mentioned before, you know, they're not 10 out of 10 albums. They're not every track is a killer, you know, but absolutely some fantastic songs, and this is one of them. Gonna Try, Kingdom Come off of Master 7.
Really interested to hear the new singer. I mean, apparently there's a new singer in there. I know it's not. It seems like Kingdom Come is Lenny Wolf, doesn't it? But haven't they got a new singer?
He carried on the name after you know there wasn't a band.
So. Well, I'll be interested to hear now because it's sort of sometimes bands these days they give the fans what they want, don't they? And they don't. Especially if they've got a new singer and Lenny Wolf's out of it, they might go back and think, you know what, we're going to fucking try our hardest to give the fans.
He looks pretty young, so, you know, he's probably got a full set of lungs and he's probably going to give it some. So hopefully that works out. I don't think they're recording. I think it's just touring, but
yeah.
Oh, well.
Cool. We got in, Jack?
Okay. I'm going for British band. And their biggest album, probably, I think it's their second album, and it's Wreath from the album Glow, and it's a song High Vibration. I don't know what you described as. That is sort of just a heavy rock band. I mean, I don't say surf band. They're into that sort of thing. They're from the South Coast. You know, they're not they don't sound like the Beach Boys or anything like that. But this album's massive. I had Place Your Hands on It, Come Back Brighter, which I've already passed, so I can talk about them. And they had a good song. I think I mentioned before. I went to see them on the Brit Rock Must Be Destroyed tour with the Wild Hearts, Terrorvision and Reef played on it, and so I saw them live. But they're just a bit of feel-good rock. It's quite funny because the singer's obviously got a strong West Coast accent, so he's all right, boy, and all this sort of thing. And they're singing. It's quite funny. But no, this song's a bit of fun, and I'm glad I managed to get them in the list because I wasn't sure if they're going to fit in. I had a song that I wanted to put on last year's, but I couldn't get it in. So good, bit of Reef.
I forgot about Reef, man. They would have been on my list. Fuck's sake, why did they, for some reason, they weren't in the, or missed them when I was looking for my list because I love that album. Absolutely brilliant album. His vocals are fantastic, aren't they? He was excellent. They were quite big at the time, weren't they?
They were, yeah. They did the theme tune for, they did parts of the song on TFI Friday and stuff like that, didn't they? With Chris Evans, they were always doing some of the music for that, and they played on that quite a few times as well.
And it was really refreshing then, wasn't it? Because they were a rock and roll band in that late 90s. It was like something fucking different. Well, different, sort of bringing it back a little bit, I suppose. Great. Good choice. Very good choice. Okay. I'm going for a band that I have mentioned with the best name for a rock band ever. What is it? Pretty Maids, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, they were going through their bit.
Sarcasm, folks. Sarcasm.
They were going through their not so good stage and spotty stage, I suppose. This is an album called Spooked. One thing's for sure that they've always had, whether it's the vocalist doing it or whether it was the music as well, they had a real Def Leppard feel at points. Especially Ronnie Atkins, the singer. He's definitely got that Joe Elliott type voice, especially when he does his, well, even in both stages of Joe Elliott's voice, he does his like lower stuff, and then in the old days, he used to reach higher.
Do you want to get right?
Yeah, but then he'll give his Saturday night, totally.
Yeah, I'm high.
Yeah, exactly. So you would get that. Ronnie Atkins can do all of that. And I think they must have been, obviously, they was around in like 80, I think their first album came out like 86 or 85, 86. So obviously Leopard were massive, weren't they? Coming out of proper pyromania and that, So I think they was going for that sort of sound. And you can hear it in this song as well, even though it's 97. Real Def Leppard feels for sure. And it just shows you that there are some, like we say on this, that album ain't great. But this is all about the great tracks, isn't it? And this could, I loved it as soon as I heard this song. And this was one I haven't heard before again, by the way. So I had to go and investigate this one. And it's so 80s and Leopard for sure. It's brilliant. So Pretty Maids, If It Can't Be Love from Spooked.
Cool.
There you go.
All right, Pretty Maids, go for it.
In 97, I know. Fuck me. Okay.
Some of those guys just never gave up. I love it. Yeah. Okay, so number 9 is a name we're all familiar with, Bruce Dickinson. This is from Accident at Birth, which is his 4th solo album. The song is called The Magician, after the horrible disappointment for most people that Skunk Works was. Even though I love it, most people would consider it not peak of his career. He went old school. He went and got his buddy Adrian Smith and brought him on board. So that's what makes this album quite different. Really strong album. I think I've kind of expressed, privately between you two and maybe on the channel as well, that I'm just not too thrilled with Maiden, latter day Maiden. I just, every song starts with the do, and then it goes into, they just have their kind of formula now. I actually find some of these Dickinson solo albums a bit more exciting, personally. Just the songwriting, it's a completely different animal. Yes, it's hard rock still, and it's still metal, but I don't know. I just think choruses are great, and he's really done a really great job for the next couple of years on these records. But this was the beginning of kind of his really great period, Accident at Birth. So.
It's funny you say that and all, because some of the Smith and Dickinson pen stuff on the new album is more straightforward, they're like 4.5 minute. One of them songs is Days of Future Past, is a Smith and Dickinson one.
Well, I think it's no secret that Steve Harris is a fan of the long progressive song, with Jethro Tull being his favorite band. So
what makes you think that? What makes you think he loves long songs? I don't know. What makes you think that?
So yeah, if Bruce and Adrian are coming together to write a song, it probably is a bit more straight to the point, really. But anyway, these are really good albums. So if you do love Maiden and you never really got these Dickinson albums in the 90s because these guys weren't selling millions of records, go back and listen to them. I think you'll really be pleasantly surprised.
I was going to say, Jen?
I was just going to say, I think Dom would like that Darkest Hour on the new album, because that's it's got Bruce Dickinson type feel, hasn't it? If you check out that song, if it's the only track you listen to off Send
I agree.
Listen to Darkest Hour, it's really good.
I listen to all their albums eventually. I'm just not pouncing on it right away, just because I don't know. I'll give it a bit before I check it out.
I think Jam's definitely right there. We're sort of getting to know what you like you all do with all of us, don't we? I think that's one, it's got a Wasted Love feel to it for sure. You probably like Wasted Love, I don't know, or for the Fear of the Dark album. Brilliant song. Anyway, we're not talking about Iron Maiden now, are we? No. Good one, mate. What you got then, Jam?
Okay, I'm going to go to my brother Ed's favourite band, and I like them as well. Band is quite difficult to define. They got lumped in with the new metal, but they're not really. They're something in their own, and that's Incubus. I think this is their second album. The first album was a bit more funky, a bit more like sort of a Red Hot Chili Peppers type thing. They have got some mixing in. They say scratching. They do play with the turntables. Yeah, a little bit. They're nothing like Cold Chamber. They're not Linkin Park. They're a rock band, fundamentally. Brandon Boyd's got a really good voice, and they do some great songs. They'll be featuring on my list because they've got some better albums coming. This is from the album Science, and it's a song called, well, apart from the title, it isn't what it sounds like, Summer Romance, brackets, Anti-Gravity Love Song. It's not ballad, it's an upbeat song, but it's very poppy, I guess you'd call it. It's got a saxophone solo, so, it's definitely sort of in the pop vibe. But it's just
Jeff Tate ain't doing it, is he?
No, he's not. It's just another one of them, as I mentioned before, my Friday or Saturday night when I'm blasting some music out, I'll always put this on. It's just a sing-along, great song, and it's got a great groove to it. So check it out if you want a bit of something lighter and something to sing along to. There you go.
I actually like that. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Did you say it was your brother's favorite band?
My brother's favorite band, Incubus. Yeah.
Oh, right, cool.
I actually like that album, Science, when it came out. I think it's the only one I heard from them. So I was in that sort of stage of something a bit different then. I quite like that album when it came out. Yeah. I can't remember a lot about it now, to tell you the truth, but I would, if I played it, it would probably come back to me straight away because I played it quite a bit, but I don't know, maybe it was just with me for a couple of years and then I left it alone, but yeah, pretty good. Right, okay, a bit controversial now, I suppose, because I don't usually go to this band.
Ooh.
It's controversial because it's Judas Priest.
Oh,
it's going to happen, wouldn't it? I was going to put a Priest song on with Tim Ripper Owens.
But it's not Halford.
I didn't do it on purpose, honestly. So
yes, because you think Ripper is a better singer than Rob Halford.
Oh, don't.
That's cool, man.
I'll have some stick over that. Anyway, Bullet Train is the song off of Jugulator. Quite a funny name, isn't it? Why do I always think, am I thinking of tits when it says Jugulator? Yeah. What should I be thinking of it? Should I be thinking of tits or not?
I think it's more your jugular vein.
Oh, right, okay. Anyway.
But it could be a jugulator.
Exactly. Anyway, this song was actually nominated, because I was looking into it a bit, for a Grammy. A Grammy.
Oh, I love that.
Grammy, yeah.
A Grammy, this was. But Metallica won.
Big surprise.
It definitely shouldn't have won, because this is, well, they went thrashy, didn't they, on this album? They was trying to fucking prove a point that they was a thrash band, I suppose, at this stage. But heavy as fuck, really heavy. There's a guitar breakdown halfway through that is just amazing. The solos, obviously, are just brilliant. It's a really solid album, actually. I hate to say. The next one, not so good. Next album, Judas Priest, not so good that he was on. It was a bit weird and a bit all over the place, but this one was definitely going for the thrash side, which Priest had done, hadn't they, in the past as well. But this was sort of raw, in your face, fast, thrashy. Great song. Bullet Train from Jugulator. There you go. I won't say anymore. Oh.
Think of breasts. That's fantastic.
Okay, well, you got
all right.
Number 10.
I've got Cheap Trick coming back here. This is a self-titled album. That was actually their 13th album, but it was self-titled. It was kind of a rebirth for the band. They had continued making records, but you've noticed that I haven't had any for a while. Not their most stellar period. They had kind of been adopted by the alternative Seattle-y scene, Some bands were doing covers of Cheap Trick songs, so they were kind of on everyone's lips, I guess. And so this is kind of a rebirth. Their very first independent release, but it kind of suited them at the time. Everything was black and white. And I don't know. They definitely tried, but it's a very strong album, very strong Cheap Trick album. They're not trying to be alternative, which is good. This song's called 8 Miles Low. As you can imagine, it's very melodic, hard rock, classic rock. Haven't really missed a step. So if you liked them in the 70s, you'd still like them in 97 for sure. So this is, as I said, self-titled album, Cheap Trick. Cheers, all man. Original members. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Good one. What you got in, Jan?
Okay. Going for a final thrash band, although once again, they're not really particularly at this point very thrashy, but it's Megadeth from the Cryptic Writings album. And it's one of their big songs, actually. They still play it. It's called She-Wolf. I think I've looked at their set list recently. They've started doing gigs again, and they play 2 songs off this album. They play this and Trust, so they obviously like the album. And She-Wolf is a great song. And they're not particularly thrashy at this point. This is Megadeth of the euthanasia type, more metal than thrashing riffs. But it's just a fantastic song. I really like She-Wolf, and I look forward to it every time they play live. This is very accessible Megadeth. Obviously, they're a lot more thrashy now. They're going back to what they started with Dystopia, which was fantastic, and hopefully the new album. But this is more euthanasia, countdown to extinction type Megadeth, if you like, and very accessible. Excellent song, She-Wolf.
Cool, excellent.
Right. Yeah, that's a good record. I think it's kind of, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of looked upon as, I don't know, too poppy or something. But I think it's probably stronger than Euthanasia. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a strong record.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, guys. Well, I'm going to an album that Dom's already had a song off here. So this is the Bruce Dickinson album, Accident of Birth. Welcome to the Pit. So really strong album, actually. This is probably one of the albums that, when it is, I left this till last to choose a song because I just knew that there's so many strong songs on it. It's a very solid album. Heavy, even you could say a little bit thrashy, really heavy sort of riff going through this. Catchy, soaring chorus though. Bruce's vocals are just, he sort of went through a really sort of aggressive sort of stage, didn't he, around this point? I mean, he's sort of lost that a little bit now, where he's getting older, obviously, but even through from the Fear of the Dark, from that album, he had a sort of a aggressive sort of approach.
Yeah.
And it sort of went, yeah, like he meant everything.
Like Ronnie Dio had during this period with Dehumanizer and all that. He kind of
for sure.
That extra bit of,
Totally agree. Yeah. He has sort of, it's really, really cool. Really good album. Accident of Birth. Welcome to the Pit is my number 10. Ooh. Okay, guys, we're at our last track, rounding off track 11.
Okay, track 11 is somebody I've spoken about. Didn't quite make the list I wanted him to, just because the other number 1 was so strong that year. But this is Gilby Clarke. You will know him from Guns N' Roses, I'm sure. I was a fan before that. He was in a band called Kill for Thrills and also a band called Candy. I like both of those bands quite a bit. But he's on a solo track now. It's a second album called The Hangover. The song's called Punk Rock Pollution. It's kind of similar in style to what I was describing the last bit with Michael Monroe and Degeneration. It's that kind of like, it's definitely rock and roll, but it's kind of punk influence. Kind of a attitude-y, snotty vocal, but just great. Just love it. I think he has 4 solo albums altogether, and they're all quite underrated. Very good stuff. So this is the second one, The Hangover, Punk Rock Pollution. Just meat and potatoes, rock and roll, kind of a Stonesy riff, but infused, with a bit of electricity to it. So it's good stuff.
Who was singing on that? Was it him singing as well?
Gilby, yeah. Cool. He sang in Kill for Thrills as well. He was the lead singer in that band.
Cool, excellent. Okay, what you got, Jam, on your last track, mate?
Okay, I'm going for what band that you two don't like, and actually it's another one of my brother's favourite bands, and I really like him, and that's the Foo Fighters on the Colour and the Shape album.
Don't say I don't like them. I've got to pretend. I'm going to see them next year. Remember.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. No, brilliant. Anyway, I like him. And this is the song that I really wanted to get on the list, and it's the song they close their sets with every night, I believe. It's Everlong, which is classic Foo Fighters song. Like I said before, I do like Foo Fighters. I think they've never done really a consistently good album where every song's brilliant on it. There's some that are better than others, and all the big singles and the songs that they lead with are always really good. And then some of the other album tracks not great for me, but great band live, and I'm looking forward to seeing them myself as well next year. And Everlong, as I say, closing song they usually finish the set with at the end of the night. There you go.
Cool. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that. Well, my last track also Dominic's mentioned. So I had to delve into this album because I didn't have a track 11, but I've gone to the UDO album. Solid.
Hey, I thought you were going to say Kingdom Come or something. Hey.
No. I've gone to the Healer, the song The Healer. So this is a sort of heaven and hell type beat, which I think Accept and Udio have sort of done. Udio or whatever in the
Princess
in
of the Dawn, that whole kind of thing, like kind of repetitive, slow, chunky.
And of course, it's got a very cool vibe to it with Udio's very strange sort of vocal, which I love, by the way. It's a solid song.
Hence where it came from.
Oh God, I tell you what, that was terrible. Anyway, yes, I like it. I mean, even though you said, I think you mentioned this wasn't known as one of the better albums, but they are very. There ain't much difference. I think he was still metal. He was still.
They are consistent. I will say consistent.
For sure. There's not a lot to say that's weak on it. There's not a lot to say it's the most amazing thing ever. But Accept were always a bit like that, and all, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? They were very hit and miss. But I like the song. It's really great. It was a solid number 11. So there you go. That's my list. I haven't got any honourable mentions, by the way, because of all my investigations. I didn't. So that's me out the window. That's me out the window for honourables. But
I actually don't know if there's nothing that we haven't talked about. Let me see. There is one thing I want to mention. There was an album. The three guys from Stone Temple Pilots, without Scott Weiland, who was in jail or doing something. Whatever he was doing. This band is called Talk Show, and I think it's the best thing that those brothers ever did. Love this album so much. It did absolutely nothing. They only had one album. Those guys also did Army of Anything with the singer from Filter, which was quite good as well. So the music's very Stone Temple Pilots-y kind of sounding, but the singer has a completely different vibe. There's no sort of grungy feel to his voice at all. It's just kind of a rock voice. Love this album. Still listen to it all the time, even years later. I just think it's stellar, front to back. Kind of a lost classic. No one really knows about it, but great, absolutely great. And then I will say, Sammy has his first album after breaking up with Van Halen. And it was quite strong. I think Sammy's better on his own than he is with Van Halen. My personal opinion, I enjoy Sammy Hagar's music more away from the Van Halen brothers. He tends to be kind of heavier, which is odd to say that he's in a band with Eddie Van Halen, and then when he goes on his own, he gets a bit more heavy. I don't know, but Marching on Mars was a pretty decent record, and I would take that over OU812 any day. So,
well, you're saying that it's weird because we've always spoken about that. People think that Sammy Hagar brought the pop
keyboards in,
but he didn't really, did he? It was there already. It was there already from 1984. You know, we had the Jump song was a keyboard song completely. Our Wait was a completely keyboard song. So, you know, it was coming already, wasn't it? That sort of stuff. So
no, I agree. And I also think he had something to prove with this one too. So Marching on Mars is one of his most straight ahead albums for sure. But
I do that's what I've said it before, is when you get the best albums when someone has something to prove, when someone leaves a band or does something on their own, they think, right, I'm gonna fucking do something here, and they do a lot of the time.
Well, and then the first track is Little White Lie, which obviously is about two certain brothers. We all talk about. Anyway, that's all I have for mentions.
Cheers, mate. Jam.
Cool. Yeah, I've got a few few to mention. Annihilator brought out the Remains album. Wasn't one of their best ones, but not bad. A good song on it called Tricks and Traps, which they do to this day. Kiss did grunge with Carnival of Souls. I know it's hugely derided.
Dom. It's a good one, that was it, Dom? Did you like that one, that Kiss album?
No, I didn't.
No. Wasp did Kill Fuck Die. Now we've done our Wasp list, and this is a good album actually. I could have picked 3 songs off here. The title track "Kill Your Pretty Face" is really good, and the song "You" are all really good off this album. But we'd already done Wasp, and I just couldn't fit them in. But it was a good album. I liked it. It's obviously slightly more different sound for Wasp, but it's pretty good. Rat did Collage. I've not heard it. I thought Lee might pick something from this. Is it any good? No. Okay. Rolling Stones. I know they're not really heavy rock, but they've brought out Bridges to Babylon. I just wanted to mention that was a good album. Anybody see My Baby off that album is really good. There was a soundtrack to a comic book film called Spawn. They tried to do the rap metal crossover. They did all experimental stuff like they'd done on the Judgment Night, but it just didn't quite work for me. It was interesting. I was really looking forward to it, but no, it didn't really work.
It was all like metal and then like electronic acts, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, stuff like that. It was more than rap. Yeah, it's probably worth revisiting again. I don't know, but yeah, it didn't really grab me. And then probably, we don't often say this, the Wild Hearts unfortunately released Endless Nameless, which is, I don't know what they were thinking. It's so bad. I tried to listen to it because there's a song called Anthem, which they occasionally play now, and it's so bad. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, we love the Wild Hearts and all, me and Dom do, and I know C's didn't put anything off this album either, but it's just, I don't know how to describe how bad it is. The vocal, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking at the time, but maybe.
They just played Anthem at their first gig a couple of nights ago in Wales. Yeah, I mean, you know, those tunes might sound so much better without that fucking production. So
yeah,
who knows? You know, I mean, I wish they would just go and cut like a live version of that album or something without all that fucking bullshit. But you know, Ginger still says it's his favorite Wild Hearts album, but I think that
everybody else disagrees.
I think that's him just being difficult, you know, because it's unlistenable. It really is.
It sounds it's such a familiar thing in it when these artists say it's my favorite album. It's just happens all the fucking time. The one everyone don't like. Even though I didn't have any honorable mentions. So you finished, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, that's it. Done yet.
Even though I was just looking at a couple of releases that I just, you know, I was sort of thinking about going into, but I found others. Ed Guy had Kingdom of Madness out. I quite like some of the stuff later on, the Avantasia stuff, obviously. Fate's Warning, progressive metal band. They're a bit hit and miss for me. I like some of their songs. They're more approachable songs, I suppose. They do a lot of intricate, weird shit. Some of their stuff's like 10 minutes long, and it's just like, what the fuck's going on? Dokken, Shadow Life, not very beloved by the fans, that one. Overkill, I nearly chose a couple of songs from the Underground and Below album. They're pretty consistent, Overkill.
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty good, they are. Whitesnake had Restless Heart, no one's mentioned that. It's not all that. Well, Brazen Advert, I mentioned them before. They had Bad Religion out. I didn't actually get to listen to that because I managed to get the tracks before I got to that one. My favourite person to hang about with brought an album out with Shout, Ken Tamplin. He came out with an album. Bonfire, the German melodic rock band. Rebel Soul out. I never got to listen to Slaughter. What was that album like, Dom? Do you know? Revolution?
It is my least favorite.
Right.
It wasn't exactly grunge or new metal, but it's a bit more psychedelic, I guess. They were definitely trying new sounds and stuff. And I don't know. Slaughter just needs to be meat and potatoes to me.
Yeah. So that's all I had, really. I mean, some of them I didn't actually get to because I've got the tracks before. So I just thought I'd mention a couple of releases that came out. So next, mate, is 1998. So we're going to decide how many tracks. I mean, is it?
Good luck, buddy.
Oh, yeah. For fuck's sake.
Not looking great.
There might be some like melodic rock stuff that
I'm sure there is, but you're going to have to do some. You have to do some fucking homework. I'll tell you that.
I think it might be a 10 track job.
10 sounds good to me. The good thing about having 10 as well, that if you did have an 11th and a 12th or something next, you can always mention it, can't you? So it's not a problem.
Of course.
So should we go for 10? That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. 1998, 10 tracks. We'll try to get together sooner because of all the fans, the complaints I'm getting. All right.
Inundated with comments.
Where's All Killer? Where's All Killer? You know, has the show gone? That was the last one. So, no, it definitely hasn't. It's still here.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, we're around. It's just that Lee was busy.
You can't give it a side. Like.
And we're still getting our views. We're getting over 100 for every year, even 96. So, you know.
We deserve 100,000, but.
We do, for sure. We're the best show on the planet. There you go. So there you go, right?
I see other shows like this that aren't nearly as good.
And they haven't got us on it, which is the main thing.
No idiots.
There's no banter. There's no nothing. It's just very dry.
Oh, fuck them shows. Fuck them. All right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for joining me, guys. As always, it was a pleasure and such a fucking laugh. All right? So see ya for 1998.
Goodbye.